All right. Well, again, welcome to our June 2026 Virtual Discovery Day. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Stephanie Larson, our CEO of Children's Art Classes. Stephanie, welcome.
Thanks, Sean. Hi, everyone. Like Sean said, please interact with us today. I'm so happy to have you on the call. We're going to go through a lot of great stuff today, but please ask questions along the way. We're going to be introducing each other to the group in just a minute. I want to share with you the Children's Art Classes story, really the vision of the company and the history of how it all began. What does this opportunity look like for you as a business owner? We're going to look at the curriculum and really walk through each lesson to show you how this grows with each student. We're going to look at the model and what that launch plan situation looks like, the training that you guys get along the way. We're going to look at the marketing materials, a little bit about that marketing plan and the support that you get through that piece of the journey. Questions and answers at the end, but please, throughout, we do not want to be boring with you guys today. So ask those questions as we go. I'm really grateful to have Sean Hansen with me today. Sean is the head of our franchise development. I'm so grateful to Dennis and to Sean. Dennis passed last November, but because of these two men, we were able to take our family business and launch as a franchise. So I'm very grateful for his support and his expertise. Michelle Jones, I believe all of you guys have met Michelle. We're going to try to get these on a Thursday because she can't join on Fridays, but Michelle's fantastic. She's a great addition to our franchise development team as well. And I want to hear a little bit about you guys in just a moment, but I'm going to have Sean take over this slide and just talk a little bit about the history of Franchise Scale and our past partner, Dennis Morganon, and some of his businesses. Sean? I think you're muted, maybe. I don't know.
What a true, wonderful opportunity and really a blessing to be here with all of you. As Stephanie mentioned, we lost my mentor and one of my best friends, but through Dennis's career and history, he has helped over 1,300 people become their own boss through franchises and find the right fit. And I've been, again, very fortunate to have partnered with him over the last decade and personally have helped touch the lives of over 500 people. And when you look across the spectrum, it's really brands that have purpose and profit, where we make an impact not just on our owners' lives, but on the communities we serve. And it's that ripple that becomes a wave, and really fortunate to be part of CAC. I will digress. And when we look back at when Dennis and I were introduced to Stephanie and her mom, Barbara, it was the founder of Blade Max Laundry, Mike Roberts. He's like, first, I've been sending my daughter Athena to this amazing program. They've got a few studios down here in Jacksonville over the last 6 years, and it's developed her confidence, her creativity. It's really helped round her out as a better person. And then he sort of leaned over and he's like, and I've been paying them $100 a month for 6 years. I'm like, oh, let's go talk. And then we get to know them. And truly, this was something that I wish I had had for both of my kids as they were growing up. And, saw the video. We're bringing CAC to my own community. I'm so excited by partnering with Katie, launching it here. And really, it's an amazing program, amazing leadership, amazing team. And some of the stuff that we're doing right now, like the quality stuff with Brittany, the marketing with Scott, and really growing our team to focus on the success of our owners and making that ripple become a wave in every community we serve. Just so happy to be here with all of you today. And thank you very much, Stephanie.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Sean. Sean is going to lead us around the horn. We want to hear about you, where you are, where are you based, what excites you about children's art classes, and something interesting or unique about you can share with the group. And truly take a look around. These people on the call, they could be your future business peers. I have lots of people that started on the Discovery Day together and then ended up going to training together in Jacksonville. So it's kind of fun in that way. So Sean, if you wouldn't mind leading us through the introductions, I would appreciate it.
I'd be happy to. And I'm going to pick on Arvin throughout the session because his daughter is one of your students. So Arvin, if you wouldn't mind kicking us off, I'd love that.
Sure. Hi everyone. I'm in Jacksonville, and we have the opportunity that we introduced our daughter to children's art classes located here a couple years ago. Uh, I found it to be an awesome program. My daughter loves it, and she's continued going to the class. And then we noticed that the opportunity here is not that much in our city, and there are lots of childrens here, and families are moving to this city. But there are different classes like Kumon and classes that are more focusing on other parts, educational things. But then parents are looking for opportunities or after school here, and they're all talking to each other. Okay, where we can take our kids. A couple of sport classes are here and there that people go, but also art is something that we don't have here that much. So that's why after we saw that, okay, our other loves is of course other kids uh, love to go to art, and that's why we thought, okay, this is going to be a great opportunity for our community and our city to start. It's a big city. Jacksonville is a very big city, so this is something that I think is exciting and interesting. That's why I reached out too.
Wonderful. Yeah, so if anybody has any questions about like the first-hand experience of the education we bring, it's awesome to have Arvin as one of our family members, with his daughter being a student at our Bay Meadow studio. So welcome. How about Adam down there in Arizona?
Yes, welcome everybody to the group therapy session of the morning for me. My name is Adam Robinson. I am located in Sierra Vista, Arizona. So I'm about 17 miles north of the border with Mexico, about an hour and a half away from Tucson. Although we are a rural community, we are the third largest population center in the state of Arizona. The biggest part about our community is that it's tied to Fort Huachuca, Arizona. So we have a lot of military families that are coming and going. It is a central hub for military intelligence training. And then we are experiencing a lot of schools that are closing as a result of just student populations and restructuring. And one of the things that's falling by the wayside is art and other extracurricular activities. We also have a robust homeschooling community within the military spouse population. So this is a target of opportunity. It's going to be a little bit unique and a little bit nuanced, but I firmly believe our community would greatly benefit from this. And my wife and I are this close to being empty nesters. Our youngest son is getting ready to start his senior year in high school and then move on to his bigger, better things. So this is an opportunity for us to still be engaged in that way. And similar to Vacation Bible School, we do volunteering in that regard. So supporting the children and giving them a creative outlet to grow is really important to us as well. I would say I have a lot of interesting facts because I have been in military intelligence for 13 years and been deployed multiple times. But my most recent interesting fact is effective as of this Tuesday, I am officially a doctoral student through Columbia Southern University. So I got accepted, and we'll be starting at the end of July.
That's exciting. Congrats. Thanks, Adam.
Very cool. Congrats. Wonderful. And welcome. And how about Demarius?
I had to recognize that name. For some reason, Sean refuses to call me Ben, but we'll go with that.
All right, Ben. It's what your Zoom says. So, hey, Ben, welcome.
I know. I'm sorry. So Ben Davis, as you can probably tell by my outfit, I'm still active duty military, but I will soon be retired here in a few months. And so I was looking for another opportunity to be excited about waking up every morning. And so children's art classes is something that I think I can get excited about, something I can do. My wife is on the screen also, but I'm at work right now, so she's at home, so we're in separate places. But our my wife and I are currently in Maryland, but our plan is to relocate as soon as we retire to South Carolina later this year, is where we were born and raised in upstate South Carolina. And so we see it as a great location for children's art classes. And it's something that, you know, I'm believe in the contagion of joy. So if we can bring some joy and smiles to a few children and maybe parents' faces, then I feel like we'll be happy and smiling and joyous also. And my wife is a career school teacher, so this is something else she can do in that field. You know, she has a master's in curriculum design, so she can certainly exercise those muscles as she kind of transitions into another part of education.
That's great.
Wonderful.
Thank you,
Welcome. And on that, Dee, I'd love to have you introduce yourself too.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dee Dee. I'm Ben's wife. I think he said it all. But just to add, as he was finishing up, I am a career educator. So kids have always been an important part of my life and educating them. And, as we know, this extra curriculum of them being artistic is something that is taken away a lot in public school. So this branch off of being able to provide that within our community is important and also exciting at the same time. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Dee Dee.
Welcome. And Joe, I humbly appreciate your review of website and stuff that's coming up. Welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Sean. I was happy to take a look at that too. I appreciate you to give me the opportunity. Hey, everybody. Good to meet you. Joe Martirano. I am in Philadelphia. Nice community. I think there's a good opportunity for CAC to be really strong here. Sean and my wife Jamie, who's back here in the blur, but she's working. Did some territory, we played around with some territories, and it seems like there is some good opportunity around us. I'm actually in transition right now. I was with a company for 15 years in a mix of kind of IT leadership and executive roles, similar background to Sean, actually. Big restructure happened, find myself in transition, and that's how I came across CAC. It was kind of part of my broader search for what's next, right, in my life. I am actively interviewing, looking for a new 9-to-5 so I can pay the bills, but I'm also really interested in moving forward in CAC. What excites me about it, I don't know if it's like my age or just my point in life, but I feel like I want to do something that's good. I want to start giving back to the community, and I think CAC gives me an opportunity to do that, and an opportunity to make some money, and to do that with a relatively low touch business model. Once you kind of get into it, and so all those things are exciting. Like I said, I just turned 50 last year. Oh, that's my interesting fact. I was born on Thanksgiving. I turned 50 on Thanksgiving. My birthday's on Thanksgiving every like 6 or 7 years. So that's my interesting fact. So it's great to meet you guys.
Always a big birthday party.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to learning more today. So I appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, Joe.
Excellent. And welcome, everyone. Again, you can hit mute, come off mute, interrupt, and interject. Try to stay on camera to the extent possible. As I say, 93% of communication is nonverbal. Lean in, ask questions, and if you have that surprised look on your face, we'll be like, oh, let me clarify that, or let me dive deeper in that. So, again, welcome, everyone. And I'll hand it back to you. Stephanie, we just had DT join, but we'll go ahead from here.
Okay. Becoming part of our story, what does that look like? Well, the vision for children's art classes is truly to become recognized as the premier provider for art education for our littles, age 3, all the way up to our high school students throughout the country. And we really do know the benefits of this program, and we want to be able to share this with as many kiddos as possible because we know the benefits of the curriculum and what children's art classes offers to each student that experiences our studio. So the why is because art education is fundamental to the growth of these kids. It does enhance the academics. It does contribute to their long-term success, even if they don't go on to become the next Picasso. The skills that they get, the confidence they get, all is part of developmental things that they need growing up. And I feel like it's more important now because these kids are in front of these screens too many hours of the day, and they need to develop these critical thinking skills that they can use in their future. So the goal being that we want to educate and enrich these kids across the communities that we serve. And I cannot make this possible without my wonderful franchisees. I'm so excited to be working with this great group of people. It feels like extended family to me. That's really what I'm looking for with new franchisees that come on. We share the same values and goals, and the reasons why align. I continuously improve our business model. I want to make this easier for each person that comes onto the team. I'm very open-minded to hearing how we can improve upon different things because we have so many skill sets now in the mix. I do not have the IT background, by the way, if you guys don't know that about me. That is something I usually run from. So it's wonderful to have so many minds that have great ideas on how we can make things more efficient. So I feel like that job is never over, but it's exciting to me to see things easier for the next person that comes in. So there's continuous improvement with the business model. And I want to make sure everybody gets that success that they're looking for when they come onto the team. This slide is meaningful to me because this journey did start way back when in my mom's garage in Roswell, New Mexico, and she just needed more income to raise my sister and myself as a single mom working as a high school art teacher at the time. She was teaching all day, selling Amway in the evenings, and truly used this little after school pocket of time to bring in additional income. And my mom developed this curriculum based on her skill set, which was teaching at the high school level for over 25 years at the time. So you will see that in the curriculum that these 9-year-old kids are doing kind of high school level stuff. They don't know that, but it's taught to them in such a way where they can have success. And it's just great to see that so many kids have benefited from that. So my mom started in the garage, quickly outgrew that space and moved into the Roswell Mall. This was in 97. Fast forward, she ended up selling her business and coming to Florida because my sister and I are both in Florida, starting families out here. And she was flying out way too many times every year. So my mom and I opened our first studio together, children's art classes in Jacksonville, Florida. I apologize if you can hear a lawnmower that's going on in the background right now. In 2009, we opened our studio together, and we outgrew that space pretty quickly. So we have a set square footage requirement on these studios because of that experience. We just went too small and had to move in 2012. In 2016, we opened a studio for my sister, Jessica. She still works there and teaches there. And in 2018, my husband and I opened our third family studio out in Ponte Vedra Beach, which is still going strong out there. We looked into franchising along the way. My mom and I met with a franchise attorney, and it was way too much for our brains to comprehend. We ran the other direction. But I was then introduced to Dennis and then to Sean because of Mike Roberts, who Sean shared. His daughter had been taking lessons from me for like 6 years at the time. And he asked if we had ever thought of franchising. And I said, yes, but we decided we were good just doing the 3 family businesses. But he said, well, I franchised my laundromat because of this franchise development team. And so that's when I got to meet Dennis and Sean, and they decided to take us on as one of their brands, which was very exciting. And we launched in the height of COVID, which was extremely challenging for our family to try to get this thing off the ground. But slowly but surely, we started to make some traction, and we had 8 studios open in 2021, and by 2022 there was 13 open, and by 2024 there was 24 open. Last year we had 36 open. There's currently 41 studios open, and by the end of this year we'll be well over 50 studios open. We've had 86 studios sold, and there's a lot in the pipeline, so it's very exciting to see that we're in, I think, 26 states. Let's see. Sean likes to.
26.
Yeah.
We're tapping on the edge of 27.
What's that? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Oh, we're right on the edge of number 27 coming in.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's exciting. I love
that's
this map.
yes, Sean, talk about your map because this is all you, and I love all the colors, and maybe you can explain.
I just really fundamentally look at it as, started out there in Jacksonville with Ewing Family Studios. And then as we have owners coast to coast, it's just such a wonderful thing. That's why I said we're right on the edge. I'm working with Tony. We're going to be launching up in Seattle Metro. So we're going to add Washington and Oregon probably next week. And that's really exciting. But it is not, the biggest message, and hopefully you'll learn this as you're evaluating JC and franchising, is we're not about adding another pen. We're not about signing another agreement. We're about making an impact, and a positive impact on you, your families, communities that we serve. And so when we look at this map, it's just amazing. We get to bring what was Barbara's glimmer, and you're going to see the curriculum today, but coast to coast. Again, I wish I had it for my own kids, but we're bringing it in my own backyard and really making an amazing impact. And also, very importantly, a profitable impact, right? When we're just doing purpose without profit, that's a good hobby or charity. But when I combine those two, that's what we're doing coast to coast.
Thanks, Sean. Let's see. Oh, I think I have to click out.
Oh, it's me and I'm the techie nerd. Just click anywhere else on this slide other than in the video.
There we go. Thank you.
Talking about impact.
So these pictures, this kind of shows the growth of one student's journey. There's been many, many throughout the years. This particular student, Anastasia, started at Tiny Hands. You see her by her little ladybug. She was 3, and she stayed with us till she graduated high school. She's already finished up her first year of college now, and she's actually going to be doing some teaching for me in the fall, which I'm very excited about. Even though she's studying to be a doctor, she's got both sides of the brain going for her. But she was just, it's amazing to have that kind of effect on a person's life and be involved with that kid as they grow up and see them grow in the studio. Whether they decide to be an artist or not, she's going to be a doctor, but she still loves her art. There's so much opportunity with this business. The curriculum itself is really why this business has been so successful throughout the years. It's truly the artwork that's leaving the studio that shows parents that my kid is really learning something. The kids are happy because they are producing something they can be proud of, and they're being taught real skills that they can utilize in their art, but also within their own communities. The business opportunity, I mean, I guess I'm very much biased, but it's a great part-time business. If you're not teaching the classes yourself, which I love our owner operators, if you're interested in doing that, let's talk offline. I love that. But if you're running the business, once you have everything in place, meaning when your teachers found their sea legs, when everything's kind of going and you're going through your classes and going through the school year, your role it's truly a part-time business. It's not like owning a restaurant and living there. This is after school hours. You're handling communications with parents. Most of my franchisees have a day job and family, and they're able to balance both, which is nice. The startup cost as a franchise is relatively low, even though everything costs more today. It's about 150 all in, which includes franchise fee, your build out costs, some working capital in there. So in the franchise world, that's relatively a low startup cost. And we have that solid background of proven success. Thousands and thousands of children taught with this program. And then you've got the franchise development side and Sean's expertise and Michelle. We've got such a great team in place to support you as you open your business and grow your business. Your role as an owner, the hardest part, and I always say this just as candid as I can, the hardest part of this business is getting open because you're balancing not only like, yes, the studio's getting built out, you're ordering supplies, you're making sure that people are showing up to paint the walls, all of that's happening. But your focus is really on the marketing and using every single day before you open your doors for the first time on getting the word out. It looks like a lot of different things. We're going to talk about the marketing in a little bit, but it's a lot to juggle, and it's the most hands-on you'll ever be with this business. It's truly is just getting open. When your business is open, you are creating 2 schedules a year, which one is the school schedule where the kids are coming once a week for the length of the school year, and the other schedule is going to be your summer schedule. Your marketing, you plan your marketing out, really push your marketing around getting back to school when the kids are coming back. Families are signing up for activities. We push hard again going into summer to advertise those summer workshops. So while the classes are in session, your role is really making sure your teacher is doing what they should be doing to help these kids learn the best way in the studio. And what that looks like is checking in to see if they have everything prepped. Do they have their materials prepped out? You can see clearly by the results of the artwork what's happening in the classroom without having to live in the classroom and micromanage to that level. Our teachers have to provide that visual of what they're doing in the studio. And I've got a great team in place now for quality assurance to help my studio owners if we do see something that kind of looks a little off base from what we expect. You're going to be notified to be able to provide that feedback to the teacher. And then we're going to address that and help that teacher and do a one-on-one training if they need help. We want to get them up to snuff. So that's really what it looks like for you as an owner. During the week, you'll be fielding emails, phone calls from families that find our program, and you want to make sure that you're responding to those questions. There's about 5 of them that you get. So I've got some great training so you could be well versed on answering those questions. But that's a typical peek at what your role
But
looks
really, like
like.
Stephanie, what you say, like right now, as I mentioned, we're opening up here in Folsom, California, is like this is going to be the hardest work that Katie puts into her business, hands down. And it's really probably 30 days pre-opening because you've got a lot of stuff going on with the build out. It's the physical build out and the digital build out and the community engagement. So I've got all of those pieces that she's doing. And then once we open up with 100 plus kiddos, then it's easy. But I always cast that and share that with everyone is there is that grind time and that hard work. But if you put in the effort, then we're built to be very semi-absentee. I always pick on Stephanie. When was the last time you were at Beach's studio? I think it was really recent though. We had the countdown.
It was very recent because we started summer workshops, so I had to go out to drop off clay and summer workshop supplies. But it's about an hour from my house, guys, and I have had a wonderful teacher in place who really is my teacher and my little studio manager at the end of the day. So I'm not out there that often, maybe once every 4 or 5 months.
4 or 5 months.
I
Yeah.
engage with the families. I still do my emails. I still do my phone calls with families, but I'm not having to physically be there. She's well experienced art teacher out there, so that's the hurdle, right? It's finding the right person. But yes, thanks, Sean. I like to paint that picture as clear as we can. Your first year of classes, when we set up that schedule initially, I have the proposed schedule for you in place because historically we know how many classes of each curriculum level do we want on your schedule the first time. Great example is you don't want to have 7 classes of tiny hands on your schedule. It's too many. That's too many of classes of 6 and 3 and 4-year-olds. That's not typical. So I help you build out that first schedule. But you'll only have 4 curriculum levels that first year that you're open. Because Art 1 is a prerequisite for going on to Art 2. So every new student that comes through your doors, regardless of past experience, as long as they're 9, And as long as they like to draw, they'll start at Art 1. So they could be 9 years old, they can be 15 years old. And we do kind of keep an eye on those enrollments too. I always get that question, well, what if you have a teenager with a bunch of 9-year-olds? That does happen sometimes. So rather than creating a separate class just for teens, which really limits your enrollment for that class, we just kind of give the parent a heads up. Hey, your kid's the only teenager in this class. It doesn't matter, but if they care, there's another class that has other teenagers in it if you want to move them. That's kind of how we approach that because I get that question all the time. But yeah, so you'll have Tiny Hands Introduction to Art, Beginning Art, and Art 1 on the class schedule. And you'll have several offerings. We'll look at that in here just a minute, but you'll have several offerings of each level throughout the week to give parents, options. Other activities that you can have scheduled at your studio, you can do birthday parties. That's a nice source of revenue coming in. But we offer birthday party times after classes are over, typically Saturday afternoons or Sundays. You can do field trips. You can have work events with all adults doing pottery. We leave the alcohol out. That exists in many other places, and it's more of a liability for us as a business owner. But team building events, Girl Scout, Boy Scout workshops, maybe they want to earn their pottery badge. They can come into the studio for a couple hours and do some pottery. Holiday workshops are very popular. Mommy and Me Do Art is really just tiny hands offered in the mornings. Special needs classes can be done if your teacher has experience and a background with helping kiddos with special needs. I just created a new class listing for kids who might be neurodivergent and needing different sensory things in the studio. So we're going to be offering that as long as the teacher has the experience and the background and the credentials to help these kids. We have the space for them to do art. You can offer adult classes, senior classes. Basically, guys, there's a lot of time during the day that the studio sits pretty lonely. So if you have homeschool groups that want to come in, we've got several homeschool classes scheduled in the mornings, like at Fridays at 10 o'clock, because they can come Fridays at 10 o'clock. And homeschool families love the curriculum because their kids can all have the correct level of the curriculum taught to them in that homeschool class time. This is an example of a class schedule you might start your school year with. This is a Monday through Thursday during the week and then a Saturday. We can absolutely tweak this, guys. This is just kind of a baseline. For instance, like up in New York, several of our franchisees there have made adjustments and added Sunday classes because there's a big Jewish population in their community that can't attend on Saturdays. So we added Sunday classes to accommodate those families. So this can be tweaked, but really the focus is how many of each curriculum level is what we're sticking to here. And you'll see that there's 2 different classes or maybe three classes of Tiny Hands. There's several intros. Those 5 and 6-year-old classes are really popular. Beginning art class, you'll have 3 or 4 listings. And then Art 1 will definitely be the most that you'll see on the schedule because it's 9 and up. So you want to have a few more offerings for Art 1. Just to be clear, if somebody registers for a Monday class, that's their class. So they'll come every Monday. You'll see a whole new set of students on Tuesday. Your Tuesday kids are different from your Wednesday kids. They're not hopping around. So they're committing to that day and time. Taking a look at special events and parties, we have full curriculum for these as well for our studio owners. So if you wanted to do like a Santa Claus workshop or a Halloween event or St. Patrick's Day, what have you, there's curriculum for that. For the birthday parties, we stay in the lane of fine arts. So the projects are either painting on canvas or a clay hand building project. And depending on the birthday boy or girl and their party theme, we plan the project around the party theme typically. And our art teachers love this because they have full reign to be creative. Maybe it's a Harry Potter party and they want to do a little Harry Potter figurine out of clay. That's great. But just as long as we stay with what's representing children's art classes as a brand, we're not doing slime We're not doing glitter, we're not doing crafties. We want to keep it fine arts. But as far as the project itself, we can get creative with the theme.
And,
Oh,
and Stephanie, you can tell the educator on the call, Dee Dee raised her hand. Dee Dee, you don't have to do that. You can just talk over us. But did you have a question?
yes, please ask.
No, I think she just answered it because I was thinking about it said field trips. So I wanted to know if there was curriculum already established for that. So she answered it. That's why I lowered my hand. Thank you.
Oh, perfect. And
Wonderful.
just to add a little bit more context to Dee Dee, we had a large group do a field trip to our studio, and it was a homeschool group, and they were studying like Greece and the Olympic Games or something in their curriculum, and so we used that background, and they all made like the big Grecian medallions as the project. So that's kind of fun. You can pull in and make the art project relevant to what they're studying in school. So there's no
Or,
limit.
and if you're special lucky, go back one slide. She did this. You see that clay pot? It's here in my home. It's coming to you, but that was like a really nice project, and we did a scholarship for a student with the best clay project. So it was beautiful.
It
I gotta
was.
show that off. It's awesome to have it here, and we do so many good programs. And you think about it through almost 30 years. If the kid is into something, we've done it, and we've got the curriculum, and we can really celebrate that. And one of the things I love about it, as you guys probably looked at your pro formas, etc., is I look at all these parties and special events as marketing events, not necessarily profit centers. As if I've got a student who wants to host, they're going to bring in 10, 11, 12 of their classmates from school to introduce them. Oh, and they're going to pay me to introduce their friends to CAC. I love that as an opportunity.
Yep, that's really how it all started. We never did parties before. And then we just had more and more students asking, I want to bring all my friends here. I want to show what I do. That's really how the birthday party thing started. But yeah, you'll get some new students out of it that have never been to the studio until they come to a special event or a one-off project at your studio. Then they might understand that there's more. There's so much more. The curriculum is what it's all about. It says 20 plus years, but I mean, it's pushing 30 years now that this all began because of my mama, Barbara, who still teaches 1 day a week at our studio in Jacksonville. She's 73, gonna be 74 in August. And Barbara is very much involved with the teacher trainings that we do also in Jacksonville. When our studio owners come with their lead teachers, we do a 2 day hands-on training, and Barb does most of it. I mean, she really is passionate about teaching. That's just who she is. And I love the way these curriculum levels roll out. The expectation levels are high. And we are not afraid to do hard things. And we teach these kids in the studio, we are not afraid to do hard things. And they are amazing. And because of the expectation level, these children rise to meet that expectation. We believe that they can do it. Can't is a bad word in our studio. They all learn that. So there's just such high expectations. And when we hire our teachers to be teaching in the studio, that's something that I really ask the question, like, is this something that excites you, or do you back away from it? Do you like seeing that 9-year-olds are capable of this? Like, I want to know what their excitement level is, because the teachers got to believe that they can do it too. That their expectations on the students really matter as well. So improvements to the curriculum. Oh my goodness, before we started to franchise, I think the Art One curriculum fit on 3 pages, and because it said ebony pencil, 8 weeks, there was nothing. So to say that we've developed the curriculum to make this into a franchise is an understatement. It was a ton of work, but all of the lesson plans have clear goals, exactly what materials you need, how to set the table properly, how to deliver the lesson plan properly. I knew that if we were going to do a franchise with this, it needed to be super detailed, nothing left to the imagination. So this is really where it's at for our teachers. It's in the lesson plans. And then I built out a training site to complement the lesson plans that they have in the studio, they've got digital copies that they can access from home so they can be looking ahead, planning out what they're going to be doing with their intros or their beginning kids. There's photos of all of the student artwork so they can have clear ideas of what the goal is for each project. And if there's additional training or additional tips, there's videos attached to the lesson. So they can even go further and say, oh, well, okay, I see there's a video here. How can I do this better? There's just constant additions made to that training site. Anything that I can think that's going to be useful for these teachers, I add. I just had a videographer in at the beginning of June, and we did a 2-day boot camp on Art One, and we had studio owners and teachers from around the country at our studio for 2 days, and we fit it all in. But I had it filmed. The edits are being made, and then there's going to be training for Art One now for forever to come on each project. So the job is never done, and it's exciting to know that we can continue to help make this the best we can make it. You can see the students going through the program and their confidence and their self-esteem gets built up because we give them this platform where they can actually get acknowledgement for their achievements. And we're all about that acknowledgement and recognition that they work hard. For these kids in the studio taking classes, now that we have this as a franchise, this is a business opportunity for these young kids to have one day. I have 3 past students that are teaching classes for me in Jacksonville that were my students for like 7-8 years, and now they're teaching the curriculum that they grew up doing. It's so validating.
Well, Martha was your student.
Oh yeah,
Martha's got 2 studios now.
yeah, Martha Boyson is a past student of children's art classes she took with her son. My mom helped her open a studio in Tennessee after she went through a divorce, and now she's an official franchisee. The top performer of all of my studios is Martha. She's phenomenal. She'll be opening a 3rd studio probably within the next 18 months or so. So there's just so much opportunity for the young kids to either teach in a studio one day or own their own. But nothing repeats as they go through. And I think that's really the differentiator that children's art classes has over maybe other studios. There's not that many that I've seen out there, but I think that's the biggest difference is that nothing repeats for these kids. They're able to stay in the studio as long as they love it, because at the Art 4 level, it's independent study. So we're helping each child figure out their own path. And that's what Sean mentioned, like there's no limit. We've had airbrushing, we've had fashion design, and bring in a secondhand sewing machine and teach the kids how to make patterns. Whatever they're into, they have such a solid foundation. Now they can be successfully creative in whatever area they want to do. And so we're just really facilitating that effort as they get to that Art 4 level, and doesn't stop at Art 4. I mean, that Anastasia student was Art 10 when she graduated and went on to college. So they can stick with it. Grace is another wonderful example of a student that's grown up in children's art classes. She is in, I think, her 3rd year at SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design. She's studying to be an architect. And Grace started with me when she was in beginning art. She was 7 there with her little Snoopy on the left. And then she stuck with it year after year. She's just a phenomenal human, and I love that she's going to be using her skills. We're going to take a look at the very first project in Art 1. And when I say high expectation, this is what always amazed me when my mom was teaching out of the garage and I saw her 8-year-old students. They were 8 at the time. We bumped it up to 9. But they were producing results that they were mind-blowing to me. How on earth? Well, it's because the curriculum is broken down in such a way where every kid, regardless of if they've had any classes with us before, they all have success. And it's a week by week, here are the goals. We are teaching them the skills. And it's a lot of work as a teacher, and it's worth it. Because, like I said, every student that finishes that project, their parents are like, they're hooked. They're hooked, and the kid is over the moon, and they never thought they could do something to that level. But the curriculum it's laid out lesson by lesson by lesson, and the kids have goals. and we teach them how to see, and it's really technical. So when I'm interviewing teachers, I listen and I ask the questions to find out if they're a process-based art teacher where it's all about how it feels, or if they're into technique. I'm looking for the technical art teacher that teaches all the things so these kids can be successfully creative later at the Art 4 when they're a ripe old age of like 13. So these are just pictures of some of our students. You can see how they're pointing to their photograph. Every little thing is taught to these kids. You use your other hand to point, so your eyes are connecting to what you're drawing. You're sitting up straight. We're teaching all of those things because they matter. And so by the time they get to Art 3, these kids are working with a medium called gouache, which is that really funky spelling up at the top. Gouache is an opaque watercolor paint. Most kids don't touch this type of medium until they get to college. They don't know that this is kind of college level stuff at this point. But the lesson plan, again, they're laid out in a way, and these kids know how to do the drawings. They understand color theory at this point. They know how to mix their own colors. And so these are the results that we see from our Art 3 students, which this is not a photograph, people. This is a painting. And you can see, if you really stare, everything is identified in shapes. He's drawn all of the shapes. He knows how to make those colors. And it looks just like the photograph. And the assignment is to choose a photograph that has something shiny in it. So we see a lot of cars. This is an engine. This one down below is very special. The hands, just love that painting. It's actually one of my past students who taught for me. She's back to school now. She's going to do art therapy, but it's her grandma, her mom, and her hand. And I just love that painting. That's Shiloh's. You'll see her in a minute. Oh, you'll see her now. This is my artist that painted the hands. Shiloh stayed with me from Art 1 all the way out the door till she graduated, went on to SCAD, came back and taught for us for 3 years. And now she's back to school because she wants to be an art therapist, which she'll be amazing at. But behind Shiloh is all of her work. And we did end of year art shows, and they were on like a crazy massive scale where we would get like a 10,000 square foot space rented out for about a month. And we would set up every piece of artwork for every student that we had times 3 studios. So I'm talking a massive show, and we'd have it judged by local artists and teachers, and it would draw crowds of like 2,000 people. So for your business, it was phenomenal because you had so many people from the public checking out and seeing what these kids were making and getting information about your business. But most importantly, what it did for those kids, I mean, talk about self-esteem boost. It was their like recital night, and friends and family would come, and the kids would be dressed up, and they're just so proud. Well, COVID kind of killed it for us. It was just all the things, and we had less and less parent involvement to do these massive art shows. We had like a team of 50 parents to set this thing up. So that parent involvement really dwindled down. So what we ended up doing is shifting and giving kids the recognition in the studio. So we do the ribbons and the awards when they finish their projects, and everybody, regardless of a ribbon, gets that acknowledgement, and we clap and give them that spotlight. But what I've been so excited about the last 2 years are my franchisees, and they're doing these art shows for the students in their studios at the end of the year, or quarterly art shows. And it's just such a great thing to do. And I'm over the moon that more and more studio owners are doing that. We did one for our advanced kids because we were inspired by the franchisees. We need to do another art show. So that's always an opportunity.
Well, and right now, Stephanie, I think folks on this session are reaching out to owners for validation calls, and please just give our owners a little bit of grace, because a lot are end of year planning. They've got their own kids, graduations, etc., and hosting their art shows, and those are just mind blowing. I'm getting these texts and these pictures of these shows. They're blowing me away. Janine raised her hand again. Y'all could just talk right over us. And Janine, I apologize. I didn't see you on camera, so I didn't introduce you. I'm a horrible co-host here. But you had a question about Adults and midday. Great question. Especially like beaches, we do that all the time. But Janine, you want to go ahead and ask your question?
So I'm thinking about daytime, and I'm retired recently, so I'm thinking about classes for people like me who are recently retired, who might like to take some of these art classes. And I feel that there's a need in the area for that for adults. I was wondering how that is managed, and do you work it through the franchise or in some other way?
Yeah, and Janine, please tell us where you're from and a little
Oh,
bit about you since we missed you on the
My
intro.
fault.
Terrible.
Yes,
Please.
sorry.
oh, that's okay. That's okay. I recently retired from Citigroup after 30 years of working there. And I found that I was a little bit bored. And so my grandchildren are located in Tennessee. I actually live in New York, and I also have a little place in Tennessee. But I'm looking to start a franchise there because my grandchildren are very interested in art, just like I am as well. That's why I'm looking in that area. And it's going to be my retirement career. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it.
I love
So,
it. I
yeah.
love it. Thank you, Janine. Sorry we missed you. Art classes for adults follow the same curriculum as all of our other students. So as adults, they would start with Art 1, just like our 9-year-old students. It's that challenging. And the nice thing about the adult classes is you can put them on the schedule early if it's maybe targeted for the seniors. My mom does she calls it her granny class, even though she's 73. She's like, my grannies. So she has her granny class, and they come at 3 o'clock on Mondays. So they come from 3 to 4:15 because none of them want to drive at night. So they're coming earlier, and that's totally doable. And what's nice about not having to recreate the wheel, then your grannies can come back and do art two, and then art three, and they follow the whole program, and with phenomenal results. So you can really be kind of creative on your timing. If you wanted to do a morning class or an afternoon or an adult evening class, it's all there for you. And if they're going to be coming weekly, you just follow the same curriculum as how that works.
Okay. Very good.
Great.
Yeah, Stephanie, we've already pre-sold Katie's Friday afternoon at 2 p.m. class. It's basically sold out already. And it's not even on the schedule yet. But I'm going, my wife's going, and her friend, her book club group are registering.
Awesome.
So I'm
I love
pumped.
it. Oh, that's so cool. Very cool. Well, let's take a look at the franchise model, and please interject anytime. I'm going to pass this slide over to you, Sean, if that's okay.
Oh, my pleasure. And, I think that with most of you is, already did some preliminary mapping of territories. And the biggest message is that we do like being near other companies that are, educating and enriching the kiddos in our community, whether it's a Mathnasium, a Kumon, a Taekwondo studio, a ice cream parlor, right where parents are already going, and looking at that is a good starting point. And we drill down on the demographics and traffic counts. And one of my key messages is, part of your launch is, call number one is once you become an owner is with Stephanie. Here's my launch plan. Here's what's next. Here's what to be on lookout on the horizon, and all the dotting of the I's, crossing the T's, what happens concurrently, sequentially, etc. Call number two is with Gary Littman. We're really fortunate. We've got a national real estate partnership, and they're going to help you find the right space. And you want to go to the next slide, Stephanie, and really peel back those layers and find, looking at demographics and kiddo count, median household income. I always sort of pause on this slide to highlight with everyone that, when Dennis and I first met Stephanie, I'm like, all right, well, this will be a great business for highfalutin, really affluent communities and more. And then we're like, oh, wow, my median household income at the Bay Meadows studio is like, 58 to 70K. That's a blue collar working class community. And yet we have over 340 kids enrolled. And so as we look at your market demographics there is, this really does work in every community around the country. I think like Joe, you're low light in your backyard, but you've got some amazing areas nearby. And that's what we work with to find like where you're going to be really highly successful. I hit the next one, Stephanie, and really drill in And what we're looking for is that right space in your market. Like typically 12 to 1600 square feet. We have gone larger if it's right size and right rent. When I say B type real estate this is not like what we tell, a commercial grade of B, but we're not opening up in those walking malls with the Lululemon or the Diori or the Gucci stores, but just like, where do we go? Where do we buy our groceries? Where do we take our kids on a day-to-day basis? That's what we're really looking for. And again, we like co-locating in centers with others. Gigi, I'm here. I'm the numbers nerd. So playing with your numbers on the spreadsheet. Sorry, so the chat come up. Definitely here for that. And again, having Gary, what's great is Gary has been with us from the outset. And though he's up in Portland, he has his realtor partners with boots on the ground in every market around the country. And so they know your area and they know the market. They know what's coming up that's not even on the market yet, and will really work hard to help you find the right space. And some of that, like site selection, letter of intent, lease negotiations. I don't want to become an expert in that, but Gary is, and you don't want to have to learn that either. You want to have a great partner that's going to help you find the right place and do that lease negotiation. You want to hit the next one?
Sure.
And then this layout, we have tuned and refined this through the years. What we call this is like my little house on the prairie, one room schoolhouse layout, which is really that ideal space. And what we're looking for and is frankly like that 12 to 1600 square feet. I want an accessible restroom and 220 for my kiln. And we're going to come in, we're going to put up coats of paint. We're going to put up our shelving, our tables. It's not a big build out. As I compare this, you guys have all probably heard that like horror story that McDonald's soft serve ice cream machine. That's $150,000 piece of equipment. That's more than our entire build out, more than the cost of launching it, period. And we're going to, so ours are pretty quick, pretty lean, and we're going to put up really separators. And then long term is as you're growing your student count, your capacity, then we'll install walls, and they're non-load bearing walls, so that you're able to launch pretty quick and then do concurrent classes at the end of the day. You want to hit the next one? I think we've got Curiel's tour.
Yeah.
And then obviously we're not, we do like doing the 3D rendering, but like this is our studio up in Chicago. It's a great little walkthrough.
Yeah, we decided to go with the one-room schoolhouse approach because Illinois has been notorious for red tape, and we didn't want to have to sit and wait for all the permits to come in to finally build the walls. So Curiel has a little bit of a separation using IKEA little cubbies, and then you can see how his studio is open all the way to the back. Now he's going to be putting his walls up this summer because, you apply for the permits. If you have to wait 3 or 4 months to get anywhere with the city, that's fine. As long as we're able to run classes in the meantime, that's the goal. So you guys can open up with this open approach, get some revenue going, build your enrollment, and then get those walls up because you do want them. I just don't want you to have to be tied up and not operable waiting to get the permits. So you can see that he's got his countertops where they're going to go. The shelving is where it's going to be. Everything is where it's going to be. And the wall is going to be put where those little cubbies are. So just beyond the workbench there with the paper cutter is going to be that floating wall installed. And you really only need 2 walls, guys. You need a wall between your lobby into your first classroom, and then another wall to separate the 2 classrooms. And then in the very back, as we go through, is his workroom. Curiel is in a very large space. This is bigger than our normal size studio, but he got a really great deal on the rent. So we're not like anti-extra space. It's a luxury, but it has to do with how much the rent is. We do not want to go into a high rent situation because then you'll have to charge more for tuition. And the goal is to make this affordable for our families and get as many kids able to experience the studio and the classes as possible. So he just happened to get a nice deal on his rent. So he's got extra space, which I'm jealous of, to be honest. Those are your paper rolls. He didn't have his kiln yet installed. This was like before students were in, but this is his little area where the kiln would go by the red. It's installed now. His work sink. And then I think his bathroom and whatnot is back here. So that we just wanted to include that tour so you guys could get an idea of what that would look like without walls versus having the separation like in my tour when I'm walking you through in Jacksonville. All right. Do we have any questions come up in the chat that we need to address? I think I might.
No, I'm just replying to Diki that I'll schedule some time to dive into the numbers with her. And, you know, she's up here in Northern California, come and see our build out and have again, I'm making this one personal. My really good friend is the general contractor here in Folsom too. So goodness, Diki, we'll have Carrie build out your studio too.
Yeah, it's perfect. So looking at training and support, as Sean mentioned, when you guys come on as a franchisee, within the first week, you're meeting with me one-on-one for about an hour, and I'm going to walk you through some things to study. I'm a teacher, so I'm going to give you some homework, such as like, let's learn the operations manual. I've poured a lot of energy into making our operations manual as tight as possible. Everything in the manual is going to be your go-to guide to getting open. There's hyperlinks that go to all the resources to help you as you're going through. We also have Teams Planner in place, which correlates every task with the operations manual. So if you're a calendar type of person and you want reminders and all of that jazz, there's so many tools to help you stay organized. So we kind of walk through those resources and where to find them. And then within a week, if maybe 4 to 5 days, we're meeting with Gary. And Gary Lidfin, as Sean mentioned, is the head of our real estate team. That is priority numero uno, is to find a studio so we can have an address, so we can build a schedule, so we can hire a teacher, so we can market your business. So we have to start with site selection. During this process is when you are going to be learning the things you need to know about your business. So this is the time where you need to be a good student, read the resources, get to know what you're actually providing the community, know which curriculum level serves what age of student. So I give you these resources in your operations manual so you can be well versed by the time it's time to market. You know, use that time to learn the things. Your instructor training comes later. We bring you and your teacher to Jacksonville. I say we, you pay for it, but you come. I give you the training, and we coordinate this with your opening. We want this to be as close to your opening as possible, so all of it doesn't just fade away. I've done it both ways, guys, and it doesn't work to train you 6 months in advance. It's all lost. So we wait till your studio is set up. We wait till your teacher is hired, and then 1 or 2 weeks before you open, you're in Jacksonville. I have 3 trainings scheduled. I have a training in fall, a training going into January, and a training before summer. These are the 3 times that you can open your business: fall, January, and summer. And so the instructor trainings and owner trainings are coordinated around these time frames. We have one in September. There's going to be about 25 of us at the training, and I'm very excited. It's all my studio owners that are opening in fall. So they're all coming to my September 1st training. It's a great training. It involves 2 days. It's a lot of operational things on the studio management, safety of the students while they're there, expectations that we hold on our business owners expectations on the teacher expectations of the student. We talk a lot about expectations. I think those are extremely important. And we also combine the training with observation. So there will be classes going on in the afternoon. Due to the size of the trainings, each group of franchisees and their teachers will be designated a class to observe. So you'll be able to see things in action. I think this is really important. I can't recreate this for you at your beautiful new studio without kiddos in it yet. So having that visibility on what this looks like when classes are actually happening is a part of that training. Monthly owners meetings. I don't always do these monthly. I've got one next week set up. The trainings these owners meetings are all studio owners and me. I usually have special guests come on. For instance, we've got a representative that works for ADP. He's partnering with our franchise and giving us a 40% discount. So he's going to be on the owner's call to talk about his services and what that looks like. I've got Jared Hansen, who's a fellow franchisee, on the call for next week. He does a lot of work with Active Campaign, so he's going to be sharing what his services look like. If you want to go above and beyond what Active Campaign gives us initially, Jared takes it to a whole nother level, which is amazing. So he's
Whole new level.
yeah, it's just whew, it's over my head. But he's going to be talking. So they're not always monthly, but when I schedule an owner meeting, you want to be on that call because it's going to be the latest and greatest things. I do always record these meetings because I do understand people have day jobs and stuff happens. But they're great calls. We keep them very positive and very focused. I appreciate people's time, so there's really not any fluff. It's right to it. The coaching is never ending. Whatever a teacher needs, if they are feeling like they don't know how to do something, they have a direct lifeline to Barb, my mom, or they can email me and I can set up one-on-one time. I'm here to support your teachers. This is the reason the business works is because of the product. So we want to make sure that your teachers have that support and business coaching, training, ongoing support for you guys. I'm here with you every 2 weeks. Once your lease is signed, we're meeting as a touch point to make sure that all the things are getting done. I try to just give you what's relevant when it's relevant, one bite at a time. And then once your business is open, I'm still here. I'm still meeting with you as you need to. Some owners have been open for 3 years and I still have monthly calls with them. It's whatever you need. Some owners are like, peace out, I'm good, thanks for the help, see you later. So it just really depends on your needs, and I'm here to meet those needs. So ongoing support. All my franchisees have my cell phone number. I'm not too far to reach. I'm here for you guys. The
And
curriculum,
Stephanie, Janine, politely, she asked, are the trainings done remotely or in Florida? The answer is yes to both.
yeah, to both.
So your initial onboarding and that ramp, we virtualized all that, but then you do want you and at least your lead instructor to be there 2 days, super immersive training right ahead of you opening. And
That's
as
required.
Stephanie alluded to, is like experience, observe classes. How do we teach? How do we support the kids? How do we orchestrate? How do we set up for the class? How do we clean up after the class? All those like little things that will streamline how you operate and grow and scale your business are, that's that you want to come there and, bring your lead instructor. And when we say lead instructor, maybe something you can clarify that too. Is typically we're going to have two instructors. We happen to call it a lead instructor, but that's probably your best bet. But by all means, if you want to add clarity on that as we're going into instructor training, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Let's just go there now. We're on the slide. It really is going to depend on your applicants and their availability. So just recently, my Ponte Vedra studio, I ran with one lead teacher, Miss Sue. She just took a full-time teaching job. So I've hired 3 teachers just as of late to cover those classes because those particular people already had gigs in other places. So they couldn't just take my whole schedule like my past teacher did, which was easier on me. So I've got one teacher teaching Tuesdays and Thursdays. I've got another teacher doing my Wednesday, Friday classes. And then I have one teacher that's doing all of my Saturday classes. Is it more teachers for me? Yeah, I don't prefer that, but it just is going to depend on the availability of the teachers that we love, right? The hope is, yeah, find one teacher to cover all 20 hours of teaching. It's definitely a part-time role, but that might not always be the case, right? I have Chapel Hill, my franchisee there, when she came to Jacksonville, she had 5 teachers with her. 3 of them were going to be teaching her classes split up, and then 2 of them were subs, and she just brought the whole party. The more the merrier. I mean, it's up to you, but absolutely you and the person who's going to be doing the majority of your classes needs to be at that training. If you want to spring for your second teacher who might only be teaching one of the days, that's always a great example or idea because this is an investment in your business. The teachers are very important to that piece. So that is again in Jacksonville. And then when they are in Jacksonville, I walk them through how to use the training site, how to use that portal, how to access the curriculum, how to utilize Sawyer Tools, which Sawyer Tools is our software that we can let our instructors use to communicate with the families, to see their rosters, to see their schedules. So your teacher gets all of that training with us in Jacksonville. The ongoing curriculum training, that's when the teachers can access the videos that we've created for them in the portal. I have all of my past teacher trainings recorded, so teachers can look through those at their leisure. I also have now started with bringing in experts to train us as a company. For instance, in April, I had a brain scientist. Her expertise is in neurodivergent kids and how to better help them in the classroom. So she did an hour training for all of my studio owners and their teachers. I have it recorded now as a resource in the training site. So my goal is to bring in people that can help us further our education, continuous education, and help us learn how to be better business owners and teachers. And then the teacher training, if needed, to be one-on-one because of the new quality assurance program I have in place. If we see that somebody's sliding off on something that needs to look a certain way and it's not executed right, then we're going to notify you and say, let's get on the horn with your teacher and walk through this project and see how we can help them better execute and get better results. So that's a very involved part of the franchise and very important part. Communication is key. So we need to know if a teacher is struggling, the teacher needs to know where to go to get that support. And I will help you hire. I can't tell you who to hire, but I will sit in on those interviews and give you my feedback and ask those questions. I've worn all the hats at this point. I taught for 16 years in the studio with my mom, so I want to give you that feedback. The ongoing support is all the things we've already talked about because I never stay on script. So let's talk about the marketing. Everything that we do is built to launch your business with at least 100 kids. My mom and I launched with 130 in Jacksonville when we first started, and we had zero resources other than our paper flyers and our feet. It was very hard. It was definitely the hardest work that I've ever done owning this business, but we went in and out of 200 schools. I don't have very much empathy for people who don't launch with 100 kids when they don't do the school piece. It's very important that you figure out how to connect with these schools. It is going to be the best time and money spent on your marketing. I don't know how else to say it. All the other things happen too, but at the end of the day, it's how many flyers did you saturate your market with? We peddle about 50,000 of them to the schools. That's where our students are. Now, not everybody has a robust school system like we do in Duval County. Ours is huge, and I understand that. I also understand that there's pushback now from a lot of school systems that don't take flyers. That's fine. There's a lot of workarounds, and it's called money. And if you have to buy your way in and become a partner at the school, partner in education, do it. I'm going to go into that a little bit further in a minute. But that is the hardest part, guys, is that early marketing, and do the work because it absolutely will get you those kids that you need to start with. And then from there, when your doors are open, it's so organically grown. You're going to have a nice base of kids, happy families, and these happy families bring other people to you and they start doing the marketing for you. So get that student base. That looks like digital. Yes, you have a beautiful website. It's going to be a specific location page just for your site that has your bio, your teacher bios, your specific class schedule. We're going to have a lot of great little badges and links and things that link to your Google, your business, your Facebook, Insta. Some people are doing TikTok. All that's great. That's great online presence. But it's the community engagement with the flyers, community events, sponsoring schools, also marketing on kid websites. When I say kid websites, ChatGPT has been great with this, where you can just pose your question. I am a business owner of children's art classes. I want to know where parents are going to find resources like mine. It's going to give you the top websites in your area that you want to market on. You want to market on websites that parents are actively going, looking for this type of stuff, this type of activity for their kid. Usually these websites have like 60, 70,000 parent reach that have subscribed to the website. Those are so effective for marketing for you rather than pushing just a general generic social media ad campaign that people are just scrolling on by when they're on their Facebook or whatever. Those are not effective. Market on the websites that people are actively looking for ballet, karate, tutoring, art classes, and then blow up that website. Sponsor the website, get a big banner at the top, be everywhere you can possibly be on that website, and do like 5 of those. Spend the money. You will not have to spend
And
this.
spend the time.
Yeah, spend the time.
So if you see us like really focusing on that pre-opening and again, once you're open and you got the kid count, then you're really comfortable and you do get to go into cruise control. But I'll give you very tactically what we're doing here in Folsom is, first identifying all the schools and using the platforms that we bring. And then also, what are local community activities? So like the city of Folsom, you all might have heard the old Johnny Cash song, Folsom Prison Blues. It's not just a big prison, but it's an old West town. They do a Main Street cattle drive on 4th of July. Katie's going to have a booth up there. They do weekly farmers markets. She's going to have a booth there. She's going to be there at, we've got all the PTO, different parts of the country, Parent Teacher Association, organization, committee, whatever, PTO, PTA, PTC. We've got her fall schedule of activities, and she's just going to, have a booth there and really light it up, because that's sort of the grind, right? But, you grind it up, but you also, it's not really hard because you're bringing something amazing to the community. And if you really contribute that time and energy in addition to what we do digitally, that's where you light it up. And so I don't mean to flog that one, but I'm super pumped. Like we even have, a couple of the mega churches in town. Guess what? We're going to be at the mega church fall events too, right? Everywhere, and inundate them. As you probably have heard, it takes 7 impressions, both digitally and physically, for somebody to know your brand. And so we're going to get those 7 impressions out there to our community before you know it, and really light it up here. So I didn't mean to speak over you, Stephanie, but like that's what this is real right now, and I'm really excited.
I think for me, like the idea of selling something is very cringy to me, just as my nature. So I want you to understand, like when you're doing the marketing, this business is so well received. It's such a need that people are excited. This is not something you have to peddle. You are just informing people that now this resource is here in the community because you're bringing it there. And you have to be the mouthpiece. You have to have the conversations because families don't understand that it's a robust curriculum, that the kids come back week after week, year after year. They don't know that. When they hear art business, they think, let's go paint on a piece of pottery and pick it up in a couple weeks. They don't understand. So you really have to share that with families. And I have a lot of training behind that, guys. I make you a beautiful full color photo book that walks people through visually of what this program looks like from 3 years old all the way out the door till they're advanced art students. So there's training on how to use that photo book, how to talk to families about what we're doing. So what we're looking at here really is just kind of that approach to, okay, you got your lease signed, and now we're going to be doing all the things. And it really is all the things. It's the school partnerships, it's local publications, it's Google My Business page. Maybe you do some Google ad campaigns. People still Google. Our name is pretty straightforward, so you do get benefits from having a children's art class's name. Do those school events like the Meet the Teacher or the fall festivals. We've got the project that you do at the table that brings all the kids over. Everything is there for you to utilize and make this the best opening ever. Yes, social media is great for brand awareness. we're very excited. We just did a filming at the studio in May. We're going to be featured on Trending Today, which is aired on Fox Business, A&E, Bloomberg. It's going to be aired in like 7 countries, and they spent a full day at the studio. I had 2 franchisees interviewed, parent interviews, teacher interviews, student interviews. I'm speaking on there, my mother's speaking on there, and it's just going to be a beautiful piece that really sheds the light on what we're all about. And this is a benefit to all my franchisees because they're going to slice it up into, little short reels that you can use on the social media. And you'll have the link that says as seen on TV. It's going to be great marketing for us that we can use for years to come that really helps to tell that story. So, open houses we didn't mention. Open houses are fantastic to hold at least 3 or 4 of those before you open your doors for the first time. This allows your teachers to be at the open house. This pulls families in. We really just put signs out on the road, those little sticky, like little marketing signs and the big banners, because it's such a last minute impulse for people to pull into your open house, which means they're quality leads because they're pulling in, they're taking that 10 minutes to come into your studio and see what this is all about. And you get a lot of signups in open house. So it's a really nice thing to do before you start for the first time because it boosts your enrollment. You can show people around the studio, give them a tour, talk to them about the program, and then sign them up. So open houses are important. This is just a quick look at some of the things that we have in Canva. There is an arsenal of materials for you in Canva at this point. Beautiful designs for social media posts, for flyers, for trifold brochures, for business cards, for pop-up banners. It's all plug and play where you can drop your QR code, your address, your information, and utilize the marketing materials that are already made. There's also a brand kit in Canva that you can create your own, as long as they're within the brand guidelines and the same messaging. The fonts and the brand logos are there for you. The colors are there. This is the trifold. On the right is a pop-up banner. Pop-up banners are great for events. They stand like 6 or 7 feet tall. So we've got a couple different designs there for you to use. The school engagement. I talked about buying your way in if they don't take your flyers because PTA, PTO organizations are always looking for school sponsors. And this is a great way to get your materials out to the families. I didn't always have all the money to do every single school partnership. This school, for instance, I think I don't know, it was a lot for me when I first opened, and I was trying to target all the elementary schools around, and I think their partnership was like $4,000 for the year, and I had already blown my budget on other things, but I still wanted their partnership, so I offered an activity. And the families of the school would come to my studio, and we did this massive project where every family got a 1 by 1 foot square of wood with the color written on it, and their job was to cover that square with whatever color. Maybe it was green, maybe it was yellow and blue, but they had to bring in like textured objects, and they had to secure them to their board. And we did this. And I think there was like 144 squares or something, and 13 by 13 foot mural, whatever it was, is huge. And every family did their square in my studio. I got to market to all their families. They got to know where my business was located. And when the project was done, nobody knew what they were really building. But all those squares came together and made this beautiful big bobcat, which was their school mascot, which is now installed in the cafeteria of this elementary school that has thousands of kids. It's a huge elementary school. And there's a plaque next to it that says in collaboration with children's art classes. And it was just such a great way to get the word out to these families without having to spend their huge fee to be a partner. I pay the fee now because I don't have the time to do the projects, but you can do this, guys, in a smaller way. Even if your studio is not ready yet, your teacher can go into the school, offer a project to some of their kids, and in turn, your flyers can go home. So I'm just saying, be creative. The goal is to get the word out, and that looks like a lot of different ways. These are some examples of ribbon cutting ceremony down below with Montessa. She joined the Chamber of Commerce, which is a great thing to do your first year as a business owner. They'll have all of their chamber members come and do a ribbon cutting ceremony at your studio. It brings great awareness to your local community because they feature you in publications and on their website. And it's just a great resource too, because you meet other business owners, and it's a great thing to do at least year one. You can do scholarships, you can do raffles, any way to involve the community and bring them into the studio and let them know your story and what you're all about. That's the goal. We do a lot of back to school events and things like that if they're relevant. You know, I had one franchisee ask me if they should spend money on a booth, and I think the theme was like Mom's Day Out, and it was all wine and spa packages and things for mom that don't involve her children. I'm like, nah, it's probably not the best thing to participate in. It's not relevant, but there's a lot of relevant events that you can do, like Sean mentioned, farmers markets and whatnot. There's still local publications too that people read. You know, outside of your favorite restaurant, there's usually the free take one. You can publish your schedule. You could publish upcoming events. People still do read those. There's some examples of local publications. They're usually pretty thirsty for content too, so it doesn't cost you a fortune. Lots of different opportunities for marketing in your community. And any questions that you guys haven't asked, please let's spend the rest of this time talking to each other. I know that we're almost at time, but love to hear from you guys.
So I have a question about marketing. Um, Our trial classes or we have 5 kids. So sibling discounts or military discounts, are those things that can be marketed or um, that you would suggest?
Great questions. Trial classes work. They work well. I think that depending on whether you charge for the trial class or whether you make it a free trial class, it's going to depend on your market. I've seen that work in both different scenarios. I know in Fairfield, Connecticut, she was having a lot of flaky fallouts on setting up trials and then they wouldn't show up. So she started charging $25 for the trial and then it would go towards registration when they signed up. That's worked really well there. I know in New York at those studios, they do free trial classes and the conversion is crazy. I think it's like 95% convert to a student by letting them come in and try a class. Um, we don't do discounts on tuition. We already have our prices as low as we can possibly go. And that is communicated and it's valid. It's real. The value is real. However, Dee Dee, I get that question all the time and totally appreciate it, especially if you have 5 children. So what we do offer is any family that comes back for classes the next year or the third year or the fourth year, they will never pay registration for their kid ever again. And that's a $40 discount for every student that signs up, which equates to a lot larger dollar amount if we were to just shave off a percentage on the tuition every month. So I always follow it up with, I appreciate that question. Our tuition is low as we can get it, so we don't offer additional discounts. However, you will get free registration for the life of being a CAC family starting your second year. So if you have 5 kids times $40, that's a significant amount of money. So that's how we handle that question.
Okay, thank
And
you.
Stephanie, sorry, I went off camera, but we also work with you to regionally throttle pricing of your studios, and what is that monthly pricing? It's typically going to be aligned with rent. What are they paying for other studio or other children's programming in the market? I think like even when we look at Phoenix Metro, where Scottsdale, more affluent, more expensive rent is, I think, $149 a month versus out there on the western side of town, it's $129 a month too. So that's part of the analysis and deep dive that we do with you prior to even opening.
Right. That was a great question. We have any other questions on the call?
Yeah, I had one. This is Deepti. My question, I just posted it, was really about the class schedules and how rigid they are by market. The reason I'm asking is I was looking at the class schedules yesterday on the website for one that's in my area, and it seems to outline pricing per week. And then it outlines every day that they have a class. Now, this might be okay for kids who, choose art as the only thing they want to do or the main thing. However, if they're paying per week, then like those 5 days are usually not used up by parents because kids here tend to be in 2 to 3 extracurricular activities. So I was just
Yeah,
wondering about the
Gigi, I think
schedule.
that
These are
I
the
think I
summer
hear where
classes.
you're going.
Yeah, these are our
Yeah,
summer.
and
I can grab this one,
but
Sean.
the kids only go on one day a week. But
Not
yeah,
in
please
summer.
go ahead, Stephanie.
So you might be seeing our summer workshop schedule, which is a totally different curriculum from what we do during the school year. So during the school year, they're coming only once a week and they pay monthly tuition. So most markets, the monthly tuition is between 129 and 139 a month. There's obviously going to be some outliers depending on where you are in the country. But that tuition is paid once a month, and the kids only come once a week to their set class day and time. If you're looking at the studio, I'm not sure which location you're looking at, but we are now into summer workshops. One summer workshop meets Monday through Friday for an hour and 15 minutes each of those days, and then it's over. So we offer typically 4 different workshops during the weeks of summer that we are open, which allows families to sign up for one workshop if they want to just do one for Monday through Friday for that hour and 15 minutes. But we do have families that will sign up for all 4 workshops and their kids with us like 10 to 3 for that week. But it's only by week. It's you can sign up for which weeks that you want. It runs differently. Is that sounding
I
like
see.
maybe what you saw?
Yeah. I think it was just a bit confusing because I was using the filters and maybe it filtered through the workshops and I didn't notice that. Um, okay, so you're saying, okay, so what I'm seeing is the workshop and people tend to kind of pair up the workshop so they can go for longer. And so
Yeah,
it kind of looks like a camp.
kind of. We've done the camp route, and to be very, very honest, the student experience really matters to us in the studio. And the camp kids that came, because we did play with this a little bit last year, um, it wasn't always the kid that wanted to be doing art all day long. And we want the kid that wants to be doing art all day long if they sign up for all 4. So having it split in individual workshops gives those families the freedom to where if their kid just wants to do one, they can just sign up for one workshop that week.
I
If their
see.
kid
I
wants to
see.
do all of them, wonderful. We want them there all day. So it's a different experience. It's not a camp. It's not like a free activity with snack break. It's very, they're learning very specific projects for the week. Hopefully that makes.
Yeah. I think it's just so different than
Yeah,
any of the ones I've seen here with my kids. So, and we've, I think, tried most of them. So that's why I was just a bit
it is
confused.
different. Yeah, it is different.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good questions.
Hey guys, I know we're at time here, but so clearly pre-launch is the most important, not most important, but that's probably the most intensive time, right? 4 to 6 weeks, give or take. That's where the grind is. This is probably a better question for owners. But for people that have a 9 to 5, or those that may have a very brand new 9 to 5 by the time this happens, how do you balance that day job with all of the outreach that you need to do? That's my first. I'll stop there. First question, and then I've got another one for you.
Yeah, I think a lot of the marketing, like when you're getting on the parent websites and things like that, you can literally set that up at midnight if you want
Yeah.
to, right? So you can just, yes, you'll be having full days managing your day job and trying to get this marketing stuff out, but that can be done on the hours that you set. Same thing with answering emails, not necessarily phone calls. You might have to return phone calls whenever you can possibly squeak it in. Evening
Yep.
phone calls work best anyway, because that's when people are not at their job. So that I think is pretty flexible. I would recommend, if at all possible, to take time off if you can to do the outreach piece yourself. Only because, Joe, it's your business. And even if you brought in a teacher to do that part, they're never going to do it the way you would do it because they don't have the skin in the game like you do, right? So that would be the piece where if you can coordinate some time, even if it's 2 days off, you can pack in a lot of schools on those 2 days, you know what I mean? But that would be the approach I would take. If you cannot, if it's a brand new job and they do not allow you to take any time away, then you're going to be leaning heavily on the teacher that we hire to help you get into the schools and do that piece.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think for us, Jamie, again, she's back here. I mean, we can split a little bit of that, but I can see that being a challenge, especially with a new job. The other question that I have for you guys is, you get this teacher and you get the perfect teacher. They're running your studio. They're like a member of your family. What happens if they leave? How do you fill the gap if you have active classes running and you lose a teacher?
I'm living that right now, like literally. My
Yeah.
class is finished up for the school year. I've had the same teacher there for 4 years, running my business essentially for me, and she took a full-time teaching job, paying really well with full benefits. I mean, good job, but break my heart. And she
Right.
gave me 2 weeks. She gave me 2 weeks. So she's covering my summer classes for this past week and next week. So I was in scramble mode. Now I've been in business for a while, so I do have people that I know that I've reached out to that have helped me in the past, substitute and whatever. So I've got my summer classes covered because I have some people that I've never taken out of my desk drawer. You get a lot of resumes, so you will have a lot of applicants. It's crazy how many. It's sad because there's not as many opportunities for these art teachers to go and teach somewhere, but it benefits us because you're not light on applicants. So nurture those relationships is what I would say because they saved me for my summer classes, and I had some time now to put my job post up there and work on interviews for my fall teacher. So there's ways to do it. If somebody drops you like a bad habit, you might end up in a pinch if you don't have some substitutes in your back pocket. So keep those applications, keep those resumes. If they're decent and you didn't have enough to offer them, you can kind of keep them engaged. That's what I would recommend.
Yeah.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I like having that backup plan of having two teachers. We talk about that lead instructor, but being able to launch and maybe, Nicole does Monday, Tuesday, Jennifer does Wednesday, Thursday, but then you've got somebody there and have that bench depth. And then, also like, I love what Ryan's doing up in Long Island, where he's got some young, teacher assistants, and they're actually super smart. They're seniors in high school, really into the arts. They could actually tag in and help. That's not his long-term strategic plan, but he's developing that bench, and they're amazing assistants.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a good idea too. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Of course. All right, guys, I apologize. I have to drop. Any questions you have, please direct those to me or Sean. I know he always records our sessions, so you guys will get a recording of the session, and I'm here to help, but I do have to drop for my next call. So love to all of you for being here. It was a great call, Sean. I'm sure you'll get those recordings out to everybody.
I will set next steps and look forward to engaging with everyone. If I'll send the recording, next steps, and again, look forward to me or Stephanie or anybody here. And number one thing, talk to our owners. I always say validation, validation, validation. I just shared what Ryan's doing, what people are doing around the country. We're here to help you and see if this is a great fit for you and your community. Thanks all.
Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
very much. Appreciate your time.
All right. See ya.
Thanks so much.
All right.